Now to our series, The Dish Recipe, where we focus on just one quick and easy to follow recipe. It's a spin-off of our James Beard Award-winning series, The Dish. And this week we teamed up with the New York Times Cooking to bring you a recipe you can have ready in 20 minutes or less. It's a salmon dish, crispy rice on the side, and it highlights a Korean red chili flake that is a unique spice, yes, but you can find it in most supermarkets, and you're gonna want to. Take a look.
Hi, good morning. My name is Gayle King, and I'm a cooking columnist for the New York Times. The dish today is a super quick, wonderful meal. It's a Gochugaru salmon with crispy rice. It's a meal that saved a lot of people in my life, people who need dinner really quickly. The ingredients you'll need to make the dish are Gochugaru, which is a Korean red pepper flake, maple syrup, rice vinegar, unsalted butter, cucumbers, salmon, and white rice. So the first step is just to season the salmon with salt and pepper. And I like to season from up high. You're gonna get more even distribution like this. And we just have some cucumbers here for snacking. I'm actually gonna salt them. When they draw out some water, they get crisper. When you place protein into a hot pan, you wanna make sure that you're doing it away from you. You'll notice that as the heat rises up, the orange sort of turns into a lighter pink. That's why I like salmon. It really tells you when it's done. Can you see that? How the orange flesh is slowly turning less and less translucent? And when it's about 2/3 of the way up, that's when you want to flip it. So that skin is nice and crispy. Salmon skin is the bacon of the sea, don't you think? Another real reason I wrote this recipe is because I wanted people to celebrate gochugaru specifically. It has this like fruitiness that really celebrates this Korean pepper. And I think once you try it, you will use it for a lot of things. The salmon, taking off the heat. And in this pan, I'm actually gonna add the rice now. What I really enjoy with this crispy rice is having one nice brown layer of crunchy, sweet, ricey, almost like a cracker on the bottom. And also, very important, a little salt. Some salt on this really brings out the nuttiness of rice. So that's gonna go for about 5 minutes. I mean, you can kind of still hear it, right? It's like, that sound is how you know you're on your way to deliciousness. And as that goes, I'm gonna just mix up the sauce, this red pepper powder, gochugaru. I'm adding rice vinegar to it. This is sort of my little trick. I love maple syrup. You need salt in this. About a teaspoon. You see how by not messing with it too much, we were able to get this nice browning. In Korean, it's called nurungji, which means scorched rice. The next thing we're gonna do is just bloom our gochugaru. We're just trying to reduce it. You're adding butter at the end. It's going to create a lovely sauce. And then when that melts, we're kind of ready. Now, all that's left to do is sauce them. This is the kind of thing that's gonna make your guests go, whoa, what is that? There's that wonderful fat, the crispy skin, the rich, wonderful, sweet, salty, savory sauce. I really think this was just a banger of a salmon dinner. I hope it introduces you to gochugaru, and I hope you love it.
This week, we've teamed up with New York Times Cooking to feature a quick and easy one-pot chicken dish. Here's a look.
Good morning, I am Yewande Komalafe. I'm here at NYT Cooking, and today I'm making honey-glazed chicken and shallots. This is a one-pan dish. The ingredients you'll need to make the dish are garlic, shallots, lime, parsley, a hot chili like a Thai chili or a Scotch bonnet, honey, sherry vinegar, and skin-on chicken thighs. My first step is to quarter or halve my shallots. I'm going based on how big they are. If they're quite large, I'm gonna quarter them. If they're on the smaller side, I'm just gonna cut them in half. I'm just gonna move my shallots to the pan. Salt on my chicken. When I cook, I'm always looking for that balance in flavor. So I want a little sweet, a little savory, a little acidic. I feel like that's the great way to eat. I want a little heat. It reminds me of the dishes I grew up eating in Nigeria. Okay, so my shallots are nice and brown. I'm gonna move them to the bowl and start to cook the chicken. This is a family favorite. We really enjoy meals that don't take too long to make. So while my chicken is cooking, I'm gonna do a Scotch bonnet, but because this is something that I'm making for my kids, I don't want it to be too hot. One way that I use the flavor of Scotch bonnet without the heat is I just take it and poke holes in it. And that way, I'm getting all the delicious oils of the chili without the heat of the chili. We need some garlic, which I'm gonna chop finely. So my chicken is nice and brown. It's been on the stovetop for about 10 minutes. I'm gonna flip it to cook the other side and then add in some water. It's a 1/4 cup of water. This is also gonna help loosen any stuck bits to the pan. So my vinegar goes in. And you wanna pour the vinegar and all the other ingredients into the sauce and not directly on the chicken. My lime juice, honey. This is gonna make a very delicious sauce. And the last thing to go in is my garlic and my whole chili. I'm gonna return the heat to medium and cover it. So this is also a good time to dress my shallots. I'm using the parsley leaves just to garnish. My vinegar is really gonna cook the shallots all the way. And I'm just gonna sprinkle with the parsley. That almost looks like a salad on its own. So my chicken's been simmering. I'm gonna coat the chicken with the pan sauce while it's cooking. My daughter calls this sweet chicken because of the honey in it. So it's great for kids also. This smells amazing. I can smell the garlic, the honey. This is gonna be a great meal. There's something about the flavor of a Scotch bonnet that reminds me of home. So this feels like a dish from my childhood. It's definitely a crowd pleaser.
A staple of Korean food, egg rice. It's really easy, I promise. 5 minutes to whip it up.
Good morning. My name is Eric Kim. I'm a cooking columnist for the New York Times. And I'm really excited today because the dish is a really, really easy 5-minute egg rice. This is called keranbap in Korean. It's just a fried egg with some leftover white rice. The ingredients you'll need for the dish are soy sauce, sesame oil, eggs, butter, white rice, and some seaweed. Pan's getting hot. I'm gonna add the butter. I like to use it as the cooking fat because as the eggs cook, in that time, this small amount of butter will brown a little bit. And it's the browning of those milk solids that gives you an extra oomph of deliciousness. And then just 2 eggs go in. It's okay if one of them cracks. You're gonna mix this all up anyway. I'll show you. Gorgeous. In here is the soy sauce and sesame oil. All of these like buttery soy sauce, sesame oily drippings, I really think of them as the sauce for the rice. Egg rice is truly something that I eat multiple times a week. The final step is really just mixing it all up, and it will all finish cooking off the heat. And you want that wonderful, like, gooey yolkiness. And I'm gonna shower the kim right on top, like a huge nest of it. That's what my mom used to do. It seems like a lot, but it's not. It will, you know, this stuff like really shrinks down. But think of this seaweed as the seasoning. It's a really lovely experience. I love this dish. I wish there was more to it, but that's egg rice. A little bit of butter that's been browned with the eggs and the soy sauce and this nice pool of golden yolk. Doesn't that look good? Right here. That's gonna sauce our rice. And as I stir this into the hot rice and eggs, the seaweed sort of wilts a little bit. It looks like home to me. I love eating a bowl of this. It's so comforting. It's egg rice, and it is divine.
This morning, a contributor from New York Times Cooking shares a one-skillet recipe that she loves to make with her kids.
I'm Yewande Kamalefe, and today I'm making tofu with blistered snap peas. But if you wanted to cook this with chicken, if you wanted to cook it with cubes of beef or pork, that works as well. Ingredients that you need to make the dish are ginger, garlic, soy sauce, molasses, cashews, coconut milk, scallions, mint, 1 block of firm tofu, snap peas, rice vinegar. The first thing that I like to do is to pat my tofu dry. The drier your tofu is, the more crisp it will get. I'm gonna turn on my stovetop to medium high because I want a lot of heat to crisp my tofu up. Tofu is, I think it's an amazing ingredient because it really just absorbs the flavors of whatever you cook it in. So it's a vessel for flavor. It's a great dish for dinner, it's a light lunch, and it all happens in 30 minutes or less. So my tofu is nice and crisp. The next step is to cook up my snap peas. I want a nice blister on them. And the way you're gonna do that is by keeping the peas in contact with the pan. So don't move it. Smells amazing. I'm gonna make the sauce for the tofu. I'm using about 1 tablespoon of grated ginger. I'm also gonna do 1 clove of garlic. I'm gonna add in my 2 cups of coconut milk. I definitely lean on my background as a Nigerian cook. I love strong flavors, so layering spices, layering aromatics, layering all kinds of herbs. I'm gonna add my soy sauce. The molasses adds a little bit of sweetness and color. If you don't have molasses, you can go with honey, you can go with maple syrup. While the sauce is reducing, I'm gonna break my tofu up. And so this is important. I'm breaking up the tofu pieces as opposed to cutting it with a knife because I want those craggly edges because I want something that's really gonna absorb all the delicious flavors. This is a part where the kids could help. You can get them to break up the pieces of tofu. I feel like cooking with kids is great because, you know, for my daughter, it gets her seeing where her food comes from, and it really does make her enjoy the food more. My tofu's gonna go in. That looks and smells amazing. So while this is reducing, I'm gonna make the blistered snap pea salad. I've got some fresh mint, some scallions. I'm doing red pepper flakes. And the last step is rice vinegar. I'm serving this today with rice, steamed white rice, but you could serve it with any grain you have available. Another key to this dish is cashews. You only just need a rough chop. That's so delicious. There's a real depth of flavor. Excellent. It's a 1 skillet dish. It's definitely a crowd pleaser. You should make it.
Our friends over at New York Times Cooking brought us their recipe for pineapple-marinated chicken breasts. Ooh, sounds good. It's hard to resist.
Good morning, my name is Eric Kim. I'm a cooking columnist for the New York Times. And the dish I'm gonna show you today is a wonderful weeknight option called pineapple-marinated chicken breasts. It truly will take 30 minutes from start to finish, which is why this is a great thing to make right when you come home from work. The ingredients you'll need to make the dish are garlic powder, cayenne, dark brown sugar, rice vinegar, soy sauce, fish sauce, red onion, pineapple, cilantro, chicken breasts, and white rice. I'm gonna make the marinade right now. So in this bowl, I'm just gonna add the dark brown sugar. This will also help to sort of like really latch on to the chicken and glaze it. I have some rice vinegar here. Soy sauce is a given, just a teeny bit. I'm also adding 2 tablespoons of olive oil to this. Fish sauce is my little secret ingredient here. Garlic powder, and adding a little salt. And this marinade didn't really come together or work for me until I added some cayenne. I'm saving 1 tablespoon of it to use as a dressing for my salsa. And the rest of it, I'm just gonna pour into the chicken. I'm gonna cut up this pineapple. I think people are worried about how to pick a good pineapple. I would try to find one that has some nice yellow at the bottom. This shows that it's ripening. You also wanna smell the bottom. It smells like pineapple, it smells so good. It smells like a pina colada. What time is it? We need some alcohol. Use like a sharp knife, and we're gonna cut around it. And now I'm just gonna cut it into cubes. And using the natural enzymes of a fruit like this, it's a great way to get really wonderful succulent meat. Now what I'm gonna use is a little red onion. You just want maybe a 1/4 cup of red onion. I feel like that is good. In order to finish the salsa, I'm just gonna chop up some cilantro. I'm gonna give it a little toss. Look at that, gorgeous. I'm gonna give it a little taste. Chicken's been marinating in the base mixture, but I'm gonna finish it now with 2 tablespoons of grated pineapple. It's like a party in a bowl, but on like a Tuesday or Wednesday night. I'm gonna let this sit just for like 10 to 15 minutes. This is really just a simple stir fry. And this is a trick that no one really talks about, but you need to let the pan heat up before you add the cooking fat. Ooh, good sound. Exactly what you want. One little trick about this recipe is you do want to leave behind the marinade. There's a lot of liquid. This feeds about 4 people. Oh yeah, that looks good. Some of them have a little more color on them. Ooh, like that's gonna be delicious. The caramelization is what you want. That's good browning. I'm happy with that. Got some rice here. Gonna make myself a little serving. And this is gonna be just a wonderful accent of pineapple flavor. It really is surprising. That texture is less like white meat chicken and it's more like dark meat chicken. And the pops of fruity, acidic pineapple. It's really fun. It's fun to make, it's fun to eat. It's fun to serve. I think kids would love this. Yum.
We're gonna show you how to whip together a weeknight favorite that requires only 1 pan, meaning 1 pan to wash. Our friends over at the New York Times brought us this recipe. It's for coconut fish and tomato bake.
Hi, I'm Yewande Komalefe. I'm a columnist here at the New York Times, and today we're making coconut fish and tomato bake. I have 2 very young kids, so I'm always looking for inspiration that's fast, easy, and flavorful. The ingredients you'll need to make the dish are ginger, garlic, turmeric, red pepper flakes, lime, honey, cilantro, coconut milk, cherry tomatoes, and fish. You can use any fish you like. The first step is to make your marinade. I'm doing full-fat coconut milk here. My honey goes in the bowl. You can also use maple syrup. You can use brown sugar. We're looking for something a little sweet. Your turmeric goes in the bowl. Salt, it's just 1 teaspoon of salt. And then my red pepper flakes. And the next step is to put my aromatics. So I love, love, love the flavor of ginger. And I don't peel ginger. I feel like the peel doesn't get in the way. I love to zest my citrus. You can see that all those nice citrus oils are collecting. And then I'm gonna go ahead and juice my lime. This is my garlic going in. The last thing I'm gonna put in my marinade is my cilantro. With cilantro and a lot of herbs, I feel like a lot of the flavor is all throughout the herbs. Stems are also really flavorful. I think there's even more flavor in the stems. The next step is to put my fish in the marinade. The fish I'm using today is striped bass. You can use any fish that's freshest. You can use haddock, you can use salmon, you can even do shrimp. If your kids are a little picky or fussy, you could definitely do chicken. So my fish has been marinating for about 5 minutes, and put my fresh cherry tomatoes. I'm gonna do a little olive oil, a little salt, and just roll them around so that they all get coated. And then I'm gonna lay my fish on my tray in between the cherry tomatoes. And then all of this marinade is gonna go over the fish. My oven's heated to 425 degrees. I'm gonna bake it for about 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna broil it to give it a little color. But that's basically it. I'm serving this with bread today. I'm gonna do just some olive oil, and I'm gonna pop this in the oven to just get some color on both sides. So my fish is done. Just loosen up the fillet from the pan. This looks so beautiful. The lovely char on the tomatoes just caramelizes the tomatoes a little bit, and it deepens the flavor of both the tomatoes and the marinade on the fish. I'm gonna add some chopped cilantro just as a garnish. And another thing I like to do is serve this with a little bit of lime. Oh, that's so good. The cherry tomatoes are really nice and juicy. All the flavors are coming through. A little hint of heat. That's a really well-balanced meal.
Our friends at New York Times Cooking are sharing a unique sandwich recipe that's unlike the traditional Thanksgiving sandwich. It comes with a twist of barbecue sauce and a crisp and tangy slaw.
Good morning. I'm Melissa Clark. I'm a food reporter for NYT Cooking, and today I'm making turkey barbecue sandwiches with pickles and slaw. This is something a little bit different to do with your leftover Thanksgiving turkey. It's really fun to eat, and it's really easy to make. The ingredients you need to make the dish are apple cider vinegar, granulated sugar, green cabbage, shallot, carrot, jalapeno, barbecue sauce, hot sauce, mayonnaise, hamburger buns, bread and butter pickle slices, and cooked shredded turkey. You can use whatever part of the turkey you want. You can use shredded white meat, you can use the dark meat. You just want to shred it up. And the first step is to make the slaw. So I've got my apple cider vinegar, just seasoned with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt. I'm just gonna heat it up just for like 2 minutes to dissolve the salt and the sugar and to warm it up a little bit. This is boiling. I'm gonna turn it off and let it sit for a minute or so while I cut up a jalapeno. I'm just gonna take a spoon and I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna get rid of most of the veins and then the seeds. And I'm gonna thinly slice these guys. If you want it even hotter, you could add a serrano or a Scotch bonnet, which has great flavor. Okay, so I have my cabbage. And I'm gonna add it to the big bowl with my shallot, grated carrot. If you want to buy a slaw mix, which is, just a bag of cabbage and carrot, you can just go ahead and use that. And let's add all of my jalapeno. I'm gonna add my dressing. We're gonna work on our turkey. So this is our cooked turkey. Here's the thing about barbecue sauce. Much of the time, barbecue sauces tend to be really sweet. And so my trick for that is I add a little bit of hot sauce, and the hot sauce really balances it out. I'm going to add all of this to my turkey. The inspiration for this sandwich is actually a barbecue pulled pork sandwich with the slaw, except that instead of pulled pork, I'm using turkey. And this is the kind of thing, everyone loves this sandwich, but kids really love it. It's just such a crowd pleaser. So see, it's saucy, but it's not drippy, which is what you want. And now you just want to put it together. You want your nice, soft hamburger bun. Softness is key here. You don't want to toast it. And your mayonnaise. So this is important. Everyone who is watching already does this because you are all good people. You take your mayonnaise and you spread to the edge of your bread, right? So that every single bite has mayonnaise. That was one of the first lessons I ever taught my daughter when I taught her how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And now you just want to build your sandwich. Start off with your slaw, pile it on, take a few extra jalapenos for the sandwich that's for you, if you like them, like I do. Next, pile on your turkey. This is supposed to be an overstuffed sandwich, so be generous. And now, pickles. I love the bread and butter pickles. So you want to just press down a little bit here, and this is important because otherwise it's not going to fit in your mouth. It's a little bit messy, but it's so fun.
These peanut butter cookies have a fudgy center and crispy edges to give you that feeling of eating a spoonful of peanut butter straight out of the jar.
Good morning, I'm Genevieve Coe, Deputy Editor at NYT Cooking, and today we're making peanut butter cookies. They're definitely the first cookie that I ever baked. They're super fun to make with kids or even just to let kids make on their own. The ingredients you need to make the dish are all-purpose flour, baking powder, unsalted butter, granulated sugar, brown sugar, salted peanut butter, egg, vanilla extract, peanut butter chips, and roasted peanuts. So the first step is to whisk all-purpose flour, baking powder, and sea salt. This actually doesn't use that much flour because you really want to get the peanut butteriness to come through. So once all the dry ingredients are mixed, then we'll start with the rest of the ingredients. Half a cup of unsalted butter, half a cup of granulated sugar, half a cup of brown sugar, and you're just going to smash the butter into the two sugars. This is nice and creamy. Everything is all mixed up. You can't see the distinction between the sugar and the butter, and that's when you know you're ready to add your next ingredients. We're gonna add a whole cup of peanut butter. I like crunchy peanut butter, but you can absolutely use creamy too. And I do like to use salted peanut butter. We're gonna add an egg and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So this is nice and smooth now, so we know that it's ready for the flour. Once you add the flour, you wanna actually not stir too hard. The more you stir it with the flour, you might end up with too tough a cookie. And at this point, your cookie dough is done, but I have 2 different add-ins for these peanut butter cookies that make them really extra special. The first thing is peanut butter chips, and these give the cookies this amazing, almost candy-like texture. And then if you want extra crunch, you can also throw in lightly salted roasted peanuts. So all you're doing is folding them in really gently. So you can see this dough really just came together in 5 minutes. It's super fast. We're just gonna scoop the cookie out onto the sheets. You can see it, and it just plops right on there. You can get anywhere from 40 to 50 cookies out of this dough. So the cookies are ready to go into a 350-degree oven, and they ideally bake on the middle rack for 10 minutes or so. So the first batch is done, and I'm so excited because they look so perfect. Oh my God, when you taste this worm, it is just a total taste of the holidays. It's just the most comforting, cozy cookie, and I love the balance of salty and sweet in these cookies. It just really hits all the notes for holiday baking.
Our good friends at the New York Times Cooking share a luxurious roast beef tenderloin. I'll be making this tonight. Cooks in less than 30 minutes.
Good morning, I'm Genevieve Coe, the Deputy Editor at NYT Cooking, and this morning we're going to be making roasted beef tenderloin, which is such a special dish for the holidays. The ingredients you need to make the dish are beef tenderloin, unsalted butter, soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, granulated sugar, parsley, horseradish, heavy cream, sour cream, and mayonnaise. So the very first step is actually taking the beef tenderloin out of the refrigerator at least an hour before you plan on cooking. And next we're gonna make the sauce that you're gonna rub all over the beef to roast with it. So we're gonna mix melted butter, soy sauce, the Worcestershire sauce, and granulated sugar, which is also gonna help with that caramelization and give you some nice brown crust without having to sear the meat on the stovetop. I'm just gonna pour this all over the meat. And we're going to rub it so that it's really evenly coating it on all sides. And once you have that all rubbed, you can go ahead and season the meat really generously with salt and pepper. So that's it, it's ready to go in the oven. It's been heating to 450. And the nice thing about a tenderloin is that it's only gonna take 20 to 30 minutes. So while the beef is roasting, I'm gonna make a super simple horseradish sauce, which is really delicious with beef tenderloin. So this is jarred horseradish, which has been drained. I'm putting half a cup of heavy cream. I'm also gonna add half a cup of sour cream to give it that tanginess. And a quarter cup of mayonnaise and a little pinch of sugar. And I'm just gonna season it with a little bit of salt right now. You want that center to read between 120 and 125 for medium rare. And I'm just gonna let this rest for 15 to 20 minutes because that's gonna help all the meat juices stay in there before slicing it. While I'm letting the meat rest, I'm just gonna go ahead and chop some parsley for garnish. So these are just some fresh flat leaf parsley leaves. You could also do chives, you can do tarragon. I have made this beef tenderloin more times than I can count, and it is just one of the favorite dishes of kids at the table always. I mean, of adults too, for sure. So once you've plated the meat, you can just give it this hit of freshness with some lovely herbs. Super excited to have a bite. I am such a huge fan of the horseradish sauce. It's savory, it's punchy, it's creamy. This is just such the perfect festive holiday dish. It's something that everyone in the family will love, and I hope that you really enjoy it for the holidays too.
We teamed up with New York Times Cooking to bring you a mustard, breadcrumb, and chicken dish using many common ingredients found right in your kitchen.
Hi, I'm Melissa Clark. I'm a food reporter at NYT Cooking, and today I'm making crispy mustard chicken with breadcrumbs. The inspiration is a really retro breadcrumb chicken dish, the kind that everybody's mom or grandma used to make. The ingredients that you need for the dish are unsalted butter, panko breadcrumbs, Dijon mustard, garlic, thyme, Worcestershire, lemon, red pepper flakes, and bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. So this is just the panko breadcrumbs into a bowl. And all I'm gonna do is toss them with melted butter and a little bit of salt. That's all you need. And all you're doing is you wanna just make sure that the breadcrumbs are evenly coated with the butter. So just give it a stir for a few seconds. Now I'm gonna make the mustard mixture. Dijon mustard is basically like the glue that's gonna keep these breadcrumbs on the chicken. I'm gonna put it in a bowl, and I am going to add garlic, because you have to have garlic with chicken, I think. Also lemon zest. Of course, I like it spicy. All of it into our mustard. And then, so I've got my herbs, my thyme. You want it to be evenly distributed without being clumpy, because we're gonna paint it on this chicken and we want it to be nice and smooth. The Worcestershire is just that little umami burst. And then my little bit of spice, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. I'm also gonna season the chicken with salt and pepper. You can do the same recipe with boneless, skinless chicken thighs, if that's your thing. All right, so we are seasoned. We have our mustard mix, and now I'm gonna paint this all over my chicken with this little brush. It's not a thick coating, it's pretty thin. If you put a lot of it on, it would keep it moister, but it would also keep it from getting crunchy. Kids love this recipe. Grown-ups love this recipe. I love this recipe. So I'm just gonna cover it with the breadcrumbs, So you notice breadcrumbs are getting all over my tray. This parchment paper is gonna keep it from making a mess. Those little breadcrumbs, the ones that fall off your chicken, full of butter and salt, are so good. And then I'm gonna drizzle with just a little olive oil over the top. This is gonna enhance the crunch even more. So I'm gonna put this into a 400-degree oven for 35 to 45 minutes. Oh my God, it smells so good. This is exactly what you're looking for. It should be golden brown. Look at all those crumbs. And you see some of them are really dark and crunchy looking. Those are the ones I'm going for first. I'm gonna hit it with just a little lemon juice. This is so classic. It's so good, so simple. It has a kind of like yum, I can't stop eating it energy. I love it. Make it, serve it to everyone you love, and they will be so happy.
Our friends at New York Times Cooking share a recipe for salmon inspired by the Canary Islands. It takes just 20 minutes to prepare, and it involves some things that we like: whiskey, a unique technique for cooking potatoes that's foolproof and delicious.
Hi, I'm Genevieve Coe, Deputy Editor at NYT Cooking, and I'm here today to show you how to make whiskey-glazed salmon with salt-crusted potatoes. The ingredients that you need to make the dish are coarse sea salt, baby gold potatoes, granulated sugar, whiskey, Worcestershire sauce, and salmon fillets. The very first thing we want to get going are the potatoes. So we're combining these potatoes with 4 cups of water. And that's just enough water to cover the potatoes by like an inch or so. And we're gonna get those boiling. So this is a really coarse sea salt. The reason you want these really big grains of salt is that at the very end, we're gonna get that salt to crust the potatoes, and they're gonna create a really thin little crackly skin. So while the potatoes are cooking, we can actually go ahead and start the salmon. So all we're gonna do is combine a generous amount of whiskey with Worcestershire sauce, which has actually some fish in it, and so it echoes that delicious salmon flavor, and then some sugar. And while we're waiting for that to simmer, we can go ahead and season the salmon. We have our salt, pepper. So now the mixture is bubbling, and I'm gonna add the salmon fillets. And as soon as the salmon goes in here, I'm turning the heat down to medium-low because I don't want it to boil, I just want the liquid to simmer. So we're gonna go ahead and flip these guys. So at this point, the salmon is pretty much done. You can see now that it's opaque all the way through. All right, I'm gonna check on those potatoes, and I can feel that it's nice and tender. So I'm gonna go ahead and drain the water, but one thing that's really important to keep in mind is you really wanna save about a 1/4 cup of water, like a thin layer of water at the bottom of this pot for the final step of cooking the potatoes. What we're gonna do is we're gonna just go and start shaking the pan to make sure that all of that really salty water that's left is coating the potatoes evenly. You can hear there's almost no water left. It almost sounds like tiny popcorn. The potatoes have this beautiful snowy white salt crust. One last shake because you don't actually want it to be too salty. All right, that's it, dinner's ready. So the best way to eat this dish is to get a little bit of that salmon, a little potato, and eat it all in one bite. It's so fantastic. The salty sweet potato, salty sweet salmon, all the different textures, it's really lovely. And the amazing thing is it's really just 6 ingredients, 20 minutes, and it's your own like restaurant style dinner at home.
Today, our friends at New York Times Cooking share an Indian dish with a twist. It's called coconut saag with shrimp, and it can be made with any protein and packs flavor and depth and comes together in under 30 minutes. It's great.
Good morning. My name's Priya Krishna. I'm a food reporter here at the New York Times, and today we are making my coconut saag with shrimp. The ingredients you need to make the dish are shrimp, coriander seeds, cardamom, onion, ginger, garlic, spinach, lime, chili pepper, coconut milk, coconut oil, cumin seeds, red chili powder, asafoetida, and rice. So the first thing we're gonna do is dice our onion, mince our ginger, mince our garlic. So the beauty of this recipe is that everything is being chucked in a blender. So if you're nervous about your knife skills, don't be. And now we toast our spices. We're just gonna heat some vegetable oil. So we've got coriander seed and cardamom. You're just waiting until you can really smell the aroma of the spices. Now we're gonna add our onion. And isn't that the best sound of onion going shh as it hits hot oil? We're just gonna cook this until you can basically start to see through the onion. This is a serrano chili. It's gonna add a little bit of a kick. I'm gonna go ahead and add my ginger and garlic. Onion, ginger, garlic, the holy trinity. Now we do our spinach. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the spinach in batches and let it just wilt, but still maintain its bright green color. So now I'm going to turn the heat off and throw in my chili. We're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of lime juice. You can definitely use lemon instead, and then some salt. Now we're gonna transfer our spinach mixture into a blender. We know we did it right because our saag is bright green. All right, so I'm gonna put my pan back on low heat, and we are going to add our mixture back in. And now my favorite ingredient, which is a can of coconut milk. And just look how nice and smooth that is. And now we are going to add our shrimp. The thing with shrimp is that it cooks quickly and you don't want it to overcook. So really you're just looking for it to get that nice light pink color. And then we will do our last step, which is making our chonk. It's just a tempering of fat and spices that you pour over the top. So we're gonna melt 1.5 tablespoons of coconut oil. We've got 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds. You're gonna turn your heat off, and we're gonna put in 1/4 teaspoon each of red chili powder and asafoetida, which is a tree resin that has sort of a garlicky, oniony flavor. If you don't have it, omit it, or you can use garlic powder or onion powder. All right, there we go. And you can kind of drizzle it with as much panache as you want. So now we're gonna make myself a generous serving. Ooh, it's tender, it's delicious. What I love about this dish is that it tastes rich and luxurious. It doesn't weigh you down. It's an entire meal in one. Over rice, you can serve this for dinner and you're set.
We take you back to your childhood. Our friends at New York Times Cooking share a homemade hamburger helper recipe that was first created by the culinary director of Shake Shack. I like the sound of that. The entire dish cooks in one pot.
Good morning. My name's Priya Krishna, and I'm a food reporter at the New York Times. Today, we are making my homemade hamburger helper. The ingredients you need to make the dish are onion, garlic, bacon, ground beef, white wine, chicken stock, heavy cream, hot sauce, smoked paprika, bay leaf, elbow pasta, American cheese, cheddar cheese, and chives. The first thing we're going to do is cut up our onion and our garlic. You just need 1 large onion, and you're gonna dice it into about 1/2 inch pieces. So you've just got 3 cloves. Let's get our onion sauteing. We're gonna 1/4 cup of vegetable oil and season with salt and pepper. We're gonna cook these on medium-low heat until they become caramelized and brown, and that takes about 20 to 25 minutes. Now, we're gonna add our minced garlic and really just let that toast for a couple of minutes. I'm gonna add 1 pound of ground beef, 5 strips of bacon chopped up. I'm gonna spread it into a layer, and I'm gonna let it brown on the bottom. What you're looking for in this step is for the bottom of the meat to get this like beautiful charred, crusty bottom. And to do that, you kind of just have to set it and forget it. I'm gonna set my spoon down and I'm gonna walk away for 10 minutes. This has been cooking for about 10 minutes. Look at that absolutely gorgeous char. And we're gonna just deglaze the pan with some white wine. You're just gonna let it reduce until it's basically dry. The wine is what gives it that sort of fancy note of complexity. Now we're going to add 3 cups of chicken broth, 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream, anywhere from a 1/4 cup to a 1/3 cup of hot sauce. I like it spicy, so we're gonna go with the full 1/3 cup, and 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, and then a bay leaf, just to balance everything out. I'm gonna bring this to a boil, and then we're gonna cook our pasta. What's nice is that you're cooking the pasta directly in the sauce, so the pasta is releasing its starches, so it's sort of thickening the sauce as it's cooking the pasta. So while the pasta, it's got about 5 minutes left, we're just gonna chop our chives. If you don't have chives, you could totally use scallions. My pasta's cooked. It's nice and al dente. And now we're just gonna add our cheese. So you're gonna tear up your 5 slices of American cheese. You're gonna add 1.5 cups of cheddar cheese. Last step, stirring in our chives. Our little hit of green. Give them a nice stir. I'm gonna just serve myself a little portion. Ooh, yum. Like, this dish is unbelievable. It is good for people who like creamy. It's good for people who like hearty. It is good for people who like complexity. This dish is everything for everyone. It is a party trick in a bowl.
Friends over at the New York Times Cooking brought us this special recipe for an agua fresca. Take a look.
Good morning, I am Yewande Komalafe. I'm here at the New York Times, and today I'm making a cucumber agua fresca. An agua fresca is a drink that's popular all across Mexico and Central America. And this is a really refreshing drink that you can drink in the daytime. You can, of course, always add alcohol to turn it into a cocktail. The ingredients you'll need to make the dish are cucumbers, limes, mint, sugar, salt, ginger. Really simple, really straightforward. I'm gonna grab my mint. I'm crushing the mint with a little bit of sugar. I feel like that releases the mint oils. I'm just doing that with a fork. This is gonna serve about 4 people. 2 if you're like me and really enjoy this drink. I can really smell that spearmint. So now I'm gonna add a cup of hot water, and I'm gonna add the salt. And I'm using hot water here because I want to dissolve my salt and sugar. Let that steep. It's almost like you're making a mint syrup or like a mint tea. The next step is to cut up my cucumber and put it in my blender. So I'm using a large seedless cucumber. You can use a cucumber with seeds, but I would cut it down the middle and scrape out the seeds. So I'm gonna move this to my blender. I'm gonna add some fresh ginger. It adds a little bit of spice, a little bit of heat. I'm doing just chopped ginger unpeeled. I'm also gonna do some lime juice. And the last ingredient I'm gonna do is lime zest. I really love citrus zest. You can use lemon zest if you don't have limes. And in my blender now, I'm gonna add 1 cup of room temperature water. Everything is in my blender right now. I'm gonna blend it to a fine pulp and then pass it through the strainer. I'm gonna go ahead and put some fresh mint leaves in my glass. I chilled my glass a little bit, put some ice in it, because I want this to be really cold. It's been hot this summer. I'm gonna pour my agua fresca in here. I'm gonna start with about a tablespoon of simple syrup. I'll give it a stir. That's really good. It's so refreshing, it's so light. And that's it. You have a drink under 10 minutes. If you want to add a shot of alcohol to this, I think it would be really good with vodka or gin, but you know, the choice is yours.
Friends at New York Times Cooking share a Vietnamese-inspired pork noodle dish that comes together in just under 20 minutes.
Good morning, I'm Genevieve Coe, Deputy Food Editor of NYT Cooking, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite weeknight meals, rice noodles with seared pork, carrots, and herbs. The ingredients that you need to make the dish are fish sauce, maple syrup, shallots, long red finger chili, garlic, limes, carrots, rice vermicelli noodles, fresh herbs such as cilantro, basil, or dill, and boneless pork chops. First, I'm going to slice 2 large shallots. You just want to slice it really thinly. And next, I'm going to slice the chili with the seeds and everything. And then we are going to mince 3 cloves of garlic. And the last thing that I'm going to do is cut up some carrots for the sauce. So I'm going to start putting the sauce together. So this is fish sauce. It's really key to Vietnamese cooking. This is maple syrup, which is definitely not traditional. A little oil and black pepper too. All right, so once you have that all whisked, the shallots, the chili, the garlic, they're all gonna go in there. So I'm gonna take 2 nice spoonfuls of this sauce with the stuff too. And I'm putting it in there so that I can marinate the pork. The carrots are going to go in here, as well as a 1/3 cup of lime juice. And drop all the noodles in here. And I'm going to give them a little stir just to make sure they're all evenly mixed. We're actually going to go ahead and just turn off the fire. And we're gonna let the noodles cook in the residual heat. And this pan is super hot, which is actually exactly what you want. And we're just gonna let these go and get a really nice sear for about 2 minutes or so. Yeah, look at that beautiful char right at the end. Yum, yum, yum. All right, I'm gonna let these chops rest a little bit so they can stay nice and juicy, and just in the amount of time it's gonna take you to get your noodles all ready. I'm just gonna slide these noodles right into the sauce. I'm just gonna mix it up with the noodles and the sauce, so all those porky juices are now gonna flavor the noodles. The final thing for this dish, and one of my favorites, is just a ton of herbs. So we have cilantro, basil, dill. People always think of herbs just as like a garnish, but in this dish, you actually eat them like as your vegetable. They're almost like the salad. I squeeze a little lime juice on top right before serving. You immediately get such a hit of salty, sweet, garlicky, a little spicy from that chili. It's just the most satisfying dinner.
This week, we teamed up with New York Times Cooking to bring you a sweet and spicy shrimp dish ready in under 10 minutes.
Good morning. I'm Melissa Clark, food reporter for NYT Cooking, and I'm here to make hot honey shrimp. The ingredients you need to make the dish are honey, cayenne, lime, ginger, garlic, butter, jalapeno, chives or scallions, mayonnaise, and shrimp. So shrimp can take a lot of different seasonings. They really just soak up whatever flavors you want to add to the bowl. So this is just regular honey. This is cayenne. So mix that. And then the lime zest. I'm just gonna grate it right into the bowl. You can also do the same dish with lemon. This is just a little piece of fresh ginger root. You can just use the exact same rasp grater. And then I'm gonna use the same one for my garlic. Everything just goes right through this. Salt, a little bit of pepper. So mix that really well. And now you don't need to grease your baking pan. You just can put it straight onto your baking sheet. You just wanna spread it out. I'm just gonna basically dot the shrimp with butter. And if you want to choose oil, you would just be drizzling everything with a little bit of olive oil. So I have my oven preheated to 500. It will cook in, I'm gonna guess 5 minutes for this shrimp. I'm gonna check it in 4, just in case. So while that's in the oven, I'm gonna get the garnish ready. I have chives. I'm gonna mince these. And if you don't have chives, scallions will work just as well. So the thing about a jalapeno, you never know how spicy it's gonna be. So first thing you wanna do is smell it. And as you're smelling it, if your nose starts to tingle, then you know, okay, that is really a hot one. But if your nose isn't tingling, you're like, well, how hot is it? Just give a little, just rub your finger on it. Okay, that is hot. Ooh, yeah, that one is hot. And I'm just gonna scoop out the veins and then the seeds along with it. And now I'm just gonna thinly slice this jalapeno. Ooh, they smell good. What you're looking for, you see how they've started to curl? That is when you know they're done. So they're perfect. I have my chives, I have my jalapeno. It's going right on the baking sheet with them here. And I'm just going to basically toss the shrimp with all of the greens. Oh my God, it smells so good. To me, this is a perfect, I would eat this for dinner. I like to hit it up with a little mayonnaise on the side. I'm gonna squeeze a little bit of lime juice on top. That's so fresh, it's so spicy, a little bit sweet. This is better than takeout. I don't know any takeout this good. This is delicious, it is incredibly easy. If you love shrimp, you will love this dish.